Adventure Kids, it is so great to see you this morning, and I can't wait to share today's Bible story with you. I think you're really going to like it.
Hi, Pastor Steve.
Oh, hey Pascal, what are you doing with that giant sword?
Well, today's Bible story is one of my favorite stories in the whole Bible. I'm pretending to be David.
Oh, wow. Well, what did David need that really big sword for?
I'm getting ready to battle Goliath. Duh! Goliath was a huge giant, but David was able to defeat him with his incredible fighting skills and really big sword.
Well, I'm not really sure that's how the story goes, Pascal. You see, David was just a small shepherd boy, and he didn't have any fancy swords or armor. But the one thing he did have was God. In fact, that's our Bible point for today. God is on our side.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what really happens.
Me too. So let's jump right into today's Bible story. In God's promised land, there was a little town called Bethlehem where a boy named David lived. Every day, David helped his family by taking care of their sheep. When lions or bears came to hurt the sheep, God helped David chase them away with his staff and sling. David had lots of big brothers. They were soldiers who fought for God's people. One day, David left the sheep so he could take some food to his brothers. There was a group of people called Philistines who were enemies of God's people, the Israelites. The Philistines had gathered their forces for war against God's people. David's big brothers were camped in the valley of Elah with the rest of the Israelite soldiers. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites occupied the other, with a valley between them. In the enemy army, there was a giant named Goliath. He was huge. He was more than 9 feet tall. He was dressed from head to toe in heavy armor that weighed 125 pounds. Wow! Can you imagine being dressed in something that weighed 125 pounds and being able to walk around in it? He also carried a big sword and a giant spear. Every day, for 40 days, Goliath shouted, "Choose one of your soldiers to come fight me." He mocked God's people and made threats.
Why are frogs so happy? They eat whatever bugs them. Funny. Why do flamingos lift one leg up? If they lifted both legs up, they'd fall.
You know you like that one. That was funny.
Very funny. Why do you stay away from trees? They can be a little shady.
Why'd you laugh? Albert out. Peace.
The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites occupied the other, with a valley between them. In the enemy army, there was a giant named Goliath. He was huge. He was more than 9 feet tall. He was dressed from head to toe in heavy armor that weighed 125 pounds. Wow! Can you imagine being dressed in something that weighed 125 pounds and being able to walk around in it? He also carried a big sword and a giant spear. Every day, for 40 days, Goliath shouted, "Choose one of your soldiers to come fight me." He mocked God's people and made threats. Mocked means that he teased and laughed at them in a disrespectful, insulting way. When God's people heard Goliath, they were dreadfully afraid. Even the king was afraid. David was little, but when David heard the giant, he was not afraid. David said, "Don't be afraid. We can trust God to save us. God will help me fight Goliath." Just think about this for a moment. David, a little shepherd boy, had more courage than all the mighty men of the Israelite army. Now, Goliath had armor and a big sword. And David had just a small sling. David went down to a stream and chose 5 smooth stones. He approached Goliath and said, "You are coming to fight against me with a sword and a spear and a javelin. But I am coming against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, who rules over all. He is the God of the armies of Israel. He is the one that you have dared to fight against. The battle belongs to the Lord. He will hand all of you over to us." David put a stone in his sling and slung it around. The rock hit Goliath right in the middle of his forehead. The giant crashed to the ground and died. When the enemies saw that the giant was dead, they turned and ran away. What kinds of things are scary to you? David fought against a scary giant, but he trusted God to save him. When we feel afraid, we can trust Jesus. Jesus saves us. And that's our story.
Wow! You mean David defeated Goliath with just a sling and a small stone?
Well, not just a sling and a small stone. What else did he have?
He had God on his side. David didn't need a big sword or heavy armor because he trusted that God would save him and his people. He believed that God would win the battle for him.
That's right, Pascal. So whenever you come across a really difficult situation, maybe it's something that's big and scary, you can remember that God is always on your side. And that's our Bible point for today. Whatever battle you may be facing, you can have courage that God is with you and always on your side, and He's there to help fight your battles for you.
That's amazing! I'm so glad that God is on my side because I don't think I can carry this sword any longer. Ah!
Oh, have an adventurous week, everyone. You okay there, little buddy?
Hey Adventure Kids, this is the part of the show where you send in your questions to me, Jake, and I answer them. So let me grab my mailbag. Hi Jake, what does amen mean, and why do we say it at the end of many prayers? From Moraga. That is an awesome question. First, what does amen mean? Amen is a very old Hebrew word that simply means, so be it. We see lots of times in the Bible where a person or a group of people would say amen in response to a prayer. So why do we say it? When you say amen at the end of someone's prayer, it lets them know that you agree with their prayer. It's also a way of saying that we trust God to answer our prayers, the best way He knows how. Did you know there's a sign in sign language for amen? It looks like this. Awesome question. Hi Jake, can you draw a picture of your house and family blindfolded? From Winnie. That is an awesome question. Let's find out. Alright, draw a picture of my house and family blindfolded? Let's give it a shot. See how I did. Whoa. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. That's me. Let's see if you can do it at home. So remember, if you have a question for me, Jake, just go to the website takeawaywithjake.com and I'll be happy to answer your question right here on the show.